morning. It's great to be here and to share this talk with you on such a tremendous platform. The title of my talk today, I don't need this one, I got my own. Thanks. I kind of renamed my presentation here to Unreal Music Making Experiences with Technology, and we'll revisit that word unreal, which I kind of became fascinated with recently with some of the research that I've been doing. I am Associate Professor of Piano here at Stephen F. Austin State University, and a lot of my research interests, as Teresa explained earlier, are with how we can harness the power of technology to improve and enhance the music making experience, specifically in my area of expertise, which is piano, both in learning environments and also on the concert stage as well. I have to share with you a little bit as far as maybe some of my motivations for doing so is because I maybe consider myself a good pianist, but maybe not a great pianist, certainly not a concert pianist by any stretch of the imagination, but the main reasons I think, at least that I can attribute to me being a good pianist as opposed to a great pianist is in my upbringing, I didn't have many collaborative experiences playing piano with other musicians. A lot of times it was just a very solitary practice activity, just all by myself. And I think there's a lot to be said for, in other disciplines, of working with others. There's opportunities to play with other musicians and also accompany singers. And I didn't have a lot of that growing up. And what this session is going to explore today is on how to use technology to simulate some of those experiences. One of the genres that defines whether a pianist is a great pianist or a concert pianist is the genre of the piano concerto. For those of you who don't know, a piano concerto is a work for solo instrument plus an orchestra, whether that's healthy or not, that seems to be the case, at least as far as defining great concert pianists. However, it's not easy to get a whole symphony orchestra together to rehearse, let alone play along with and perform with pianists. So we have some proxies that we use in the music industry to address this problem. One is to have a second pianist to play the orchestra part. They call it an orchestra reduction, but of course, as is implied, it is a reduction of the orchestra. It's kind of trimmed down. You don't get the same tone colors and timbres that you get from the full symphony orchestra. We also have pianists also practice with recordings of orchestras, so you do get those timbres, but unfortunately with those types of recordings, either on CD or on vinyl records, I think the series is called Music Minus One, is what they call these recordings of the orchestra minus the soloist, is that the soloist is at the mercy of whatever the recording was recorded at, as far as tempo is concerned. You have to go as fast as the orchestra is going or as slow as the orchestra is going. So there's a lack of interactivity in that particular process. So we're going to demonstrate a combination of technologies that can simulate the experience of playing with a symphony orchestra right here. And one of those types of technology is what I call the Unreal Orchestra. I'm really fascinated with that word unreal because when you think of the word unreal, one of the first synonyms that you might come to mind is fake. Okay, but another context of using unreal is, wow, that was unreal. That was beyond what I thought was capable of being done. And that's what I think this Garriton Personal Orchestra, it's a virtual sound library of over 200 instruments from the Symphony Orchestra, and it's probably as close as we can get in a computer-generated sound set for orchestral instruments. They can even imitate various orchestral effects such as In strings, they can do tremolos, vibratos, a lot of effects that aren't able to be replicated in generic computer-generated sounds. But in order to tell that orchestra what it needs to play and also how fast to play it, we need an unreal conductor or an unreal, a virtual conductor. What I use is a program called Home Concert Extreme. Home Concert Extreme is a smart MIDI accompaniment program which takes performance data and generates, works in conjunction with programs like the Garriton Personal Orchestra to tell that orchestra how fast and how loud to play based off of the pianist playing when it's hooked up to a digital keyboard. It also is a virtual score. You don't even need paper. It can generate the performance data in beautiful music notation, as you'll see up here on the screen. So we'll take a little bit closer look at that, and even turns pages automatically so you don't have to do any swiping or anything like that. But unfortunately, the smart accompaniment program does not work, at least it doesn't work very well with acoustic instruments. All right? So there have been digital pianos around, but what we have here today is what I call an Unreal piano, and it is a Yamaha Avant-Grand N2, and they call it a hybrid piano. Hybrid is a nice little buzzword these days. The reason why they call it a hybrid piano is because there are no strings in it, but what Yamaha has done is they've taken the next best thing. They've sampled and recorded all the possible sounds that one can get from an acoustic grand piano. And they've been strategically placed speakers in places so that when one sits at the piano, it sounds like you're sitting at an acoustic grand piano. Another reason why it's called the hybrid piano is because of the keyboard. It has all the wooden keys, the keyboard, and the hammers, and the action inside of it is the exact same keyboard and action that you would find on an acoustic grand piano. It even has what's called a tactile response system, or a TRS, in which it simulates vibrations coming underneath the key bed so that it feels like an acoustic piano of the strings vibrating. So for all intents and all purposes, we have as close as what we're going to get as far as an acoustic instrument, but we have the positive of being able to have that digital connectivity to the other elements that we discussed earlier. So with those three elements, the Unreal hybrid piano, the Unreal Orchestra, Garriton Personal Orchestra, and the Unreal Smart Accompaniment or Conductor, what we are able to achieve is a real concerto experience for pianists, and that's what we're going to be showing here today. So it gives me great pleasure to welcome to the stage Antonio Ajero. Come on up to the stage. Neo is 8 years old, and he has grown up basically with this technology, and Teresa talked earlier about some of his successes at this stage in his performing career, I guess if you want to call it that. I think there's a number of factors that contribute to his success. Number one, yes, it helps that his father's a piano professor, but I think if you have parents that show a particular strong interest and work together with their child in any discipline for that matter, then you're going to achieve similar successes. Number two is we give him music that he enjoys playing. And number three, he's been immersed in this technology. He's grown up with this since he was 3 years old, and it's just nothing new to him, and we've been able to create some unique experiences due to this technology. I wish I had this stuff when I was growing up here. So anyway, let's make our way over to the piano here. So here we have the Home Concert Extreme program. Again, what I want to stress is he's going to be listening to the orchestra, but it's actually a two-way communication going on. The orchestra is going to be listening to his playing. It's going to speed up as he speeds up. It's going to slow down as he slows down. It's going to get louder and softer as he does. One way to kind of trace that here, you might notice on the top right corner, there's this tempo slider that tells how fast he's playing, and you'll notice that it will be moving back and forth because I don't know any human that can play the same tempo for every second of every piece there. In fact, it's kind of inhuman to be able to do so. So you get much more of an organic experience from the humanistic fluctuations in tempo, but nonetheless, yeah, all I'm going to do is I'm going to set it to what's called the perform mode, and it will listen to him. He's only been working on this piece for about 8 weeks now, so it's still a bit of a work in progress. But you know what, I'm pretty confident about it because if he happens to get lost and then he just picks up some other place in the piece, the the orchestra will find him. We hope so. Anyway, enough of me talking. Please give a round of applause for Neil Ajero.